We have a full moon in the sign of Leo, entangled with Pluto and Jupiter, as well as asteroids Nemesis and Varuna. We're going to talk about what this moon might mean for you based on your rising sign, sun, and of course, moon sign as well. You can listen for all three. And this Leo full moon is happening on January the 25th, 2024 at 5 degrees of Leo. Now, all full moons are taking cue from 6 months earlier when we had a new moon in Leo during the summer. We'll be talking about how that might look in terms of the world. That's called mundane astrology. But of course, listen as well after the world event astrology section in the beginning to how this would work for you in your own life. You know, your rising sign is always the most accurate if you ask me. So if you don't know what your rising sign is, please calculate it on any online software. And I have a tutorial in my description box below on how to create your own natal chart using whole sign houses. All you need to know is your birth time. And second of all, we're going to talk about this moon in terms of power. There's a lot of power in this lunation, and that's because it is reflecting Pluto's sun conjunction energy. And it's also connected to a creator god of the Hindu mythology called Varuna, also a god of divine justice. Also hanging out with an orb of Nemesis, the asteroid that's also about rebalancing the scales of justice. So we see a lot of need to balance out, rebalance some kind of fairness, justice thing with this moon. We also see Pluto power and squares to Jupiter. Wow. Well, then we're going to bring in the idea of what wants to expand, grow, and prosper, but is getting a slow down, pause, or yield sign in each of our lives. We will talk about that in great detail as we go ahead. But by the way, some of you, if you're new to my channel, may not know anything about what I'm doing. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses, and I love the fixed stars and the minor asteroids. We also will bring in a fixed star today. Was in conjunction to this moon, what's with the sun. But also check out everything I have below in my description box, including my 2024 all signs video bundle for sale until the end of January. That content, 90-minute videos for each sign, never goes public. It's my yearly business fundraiser to buy equipment, hire staff, and stuff like that. Now, there was something I was going to tell you, but now my brain went offline, so we'll forget about that. It was something to do with the idea of this lunation. Oh, the Sabian symbol. There's like Sabian symbols, you know, Elsie Wheeler channeled them in the 1930s, and many people have pontificated on one sort of one-line symbol for each of the 360 degrees of the zodiac, almost like a channel symbol. And this is the one of an old woman and a flapper. Now, some people have said like a modern hippie girl and an old woman. People have tried to retranslate it, but it really is a symbol of an old woman and a flapper, right? In the 1920s, a flapper was a rule breaker. It was a new generation. It was a generation doing things daring. So it's almost like a clash of generations that is embodied in the 5-degree Leo moon, but the 6-degree Sabian symbol. We always round up. And I can see this being a clash of the generations here in the world right now, as we look at the differing epochal era of generations, you know, the baby boomers who dominated society for so long, who seem to get all the wealth and all the power and all the houses and stuff, and the younger, like the Gen X's and the millennials, who are in a completely different place. So I think there's going to be an interesting thing with this moon where we see this generational breach. And, you know, if you look at the United States, even more amplified. For example, in the United States, Joe Biden is losing like 60% or more of the young vote because they don't agree with his policies regarding the situation right now in the Middle East. And so that's a generational difference, a generational gap, you see. And the conservative mindset and the hegemony of the United States, that's a mindset that goes back to the boomer era, right? People born, you know, in, what are the boomers, you know, the 1940s, 1950s into the 1963, I believe, is the cutoff. I'm technically a boomer at 62, but I don't feel like a boomer. I hang out with young people. I feel much more aligned with the other generations. Okay, so let's get going and talk about how this moon works in your sky. I'm going to show you the sky, a square to Pluto, and a moon-sun opposition. This makes it a T-square, so let's take a look at that. Don't forget, I love the rising sign as your most accurate delineation, then the sun and the moon, right? And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit my bell for notifications. I put out last month 30 videos. That's an incredibly prolific month. But you get to watch these videos, premieres with me, early access, ad-free stuff as well if you join my Patreon. All this stuff is under my More button. Yes, I do readings, but I'm booked. I'm booked through to July right now, June, July. So, and I close my calendar off. But if you sign up for my waiting list, you can get in. Okay, so let's get going. I mean, it's a wait list for new appointments that open up. All right, so let's get going and look at the sky together. What else would I say to you about this? I'll show it to you and then I'll say it before we do the all signs. Okay, I'm having a tech issue. Let's move into the story here. Here we go. All right, guys. All righty, this is it. What I think I want to mention first of all is there's a happy thing going on. I took a lot of planets out because honestly, if they're not really connected to the moon directly, I often don't discuss them. But I did leave this in here. This is Mars flowing to Chiron, a very powerful energy here. Well, not flowing, squaring, but a very powerful energy of a precise or partile square between Mars, the warrior, the god of war, but Mars in Capricorn exalted, and by January 25th, just about to become visible in the sky, and squaring Chiron, the one that is got the wound that must be healed, but that's not easy to heal and might require a sacrifice. So there's energies in the sky that are co-present with this lunation. This is the moon in Leo at 5 degrees that can be really difficult, I believe. I think it's going to look like a kind of moon where you might find yourself wanting to go back to bed and put the covers over your head, not just in the day or two around the moon, but in the 2 weeks that follow. And this is a full moon, of course, like any full moon that's taking off from the new moon in Leo. All full moons are the fulfillment of the new moon. When was the new moon? Let me give you the exact date, and then think about that time in your life. I'm going to give you the date and the month that followed the new moon, and see if you can book in something that's happening now in the Leo part of your sky. It's going to be different for every sign. And as we go through all signs, I will say, remember then, and this is now, and this is where this thing is happening. We have 12 houses in astrology, and each of these houses has a different meaning. It could be your house of your money, the house of your business partners, the house of your work, the house of your career and reputation, the house of your children. So we'll talk about the Leo space, the Leo moon, and where that is for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the exact date of the new moon in Leo last year. So the last time this moon happened in a new moon phase in Leo was in August, around the 16th of August, 2023. And in the 2 weeks that followed, things may have occurred in your life that you were seeding something new in your Leo whole sign house, and now you're going to bring that thing to fulfillment, completion, ending, or fruition. It's interesting. Back in August of 2023, the main headlines were Trump being indicted and mugshot arrested over the election interference case in Georgia. And there's a lot, like all the headlines were dominated in August of 2023 by that particular headline story. Now, you might be wondering why I'm talking about this story, because Donald Trump is a Leo rising at 29 degrees on a very powerful star, Regulus, fame, power, glory, and riches, and yet a fall from power, which is in the fine print of that particular Persian royal star. It's now moved to 0 degrees of Virgo, but when he was born, it was sitting at 29 degrees of Leo. And by the way, the star is not moving. We're moving relative to the star and the precession of the equinoxes and the wobble of the earth. So basically what I want to say is I do think that Donald Trump is back in the news cycle as a result of this. And of course, he's always in the news cycle. But right now, the new court things that are going on are court decisions about whether or not states can ban him from running in their state because of his election interference. So we'll see 2 weeks of those stories bubbling forth and finally declarative answers to these questions of Donald Trump and his electoral eligibility, but even just some of those lawsuits coming right back into the news cycle. So look for that kind of thing definitely in the public. And when it comes to the Leo part of the sky, we're choosing him as an example just because he's a Leo rising. But other places that are Leo rising is Iran, the nation of Iran, and that makes me think that, with the latest things going on in that part of the world, which I won't declare here because it's killing my algorithm, that we must be careful or just watchful of what kind of news stories are going to percolate up regarding the role of that country in current world events. Now, if I go back and take a look at 2023 August, were there any headlines about that story? I'm going to go look down and I'll let you know. The main stories were about the oppressive quality of the regime over women, like maybe passing laws to mandate that they wear certain apparel for their religious beliefs, the hijab. But there's something else interesting going on. There's a particular news headline that came out in the month of August to do with a reporting that back in April of 23, United States had unloaded Iranian oil off a tanker that they seized in April of 2023, and the concern that Iran may seize commercial vehicles and vessels or threaten U.S. ships in response. So there's again shipping lanes and concerns and Iran and United States stories that were in the news cycle in August of 2023. And now a full moon, Leo, Iran is a Leo rising. It's important to consider that quite possibly that's going to be Iran is a part of the story, and it's going to be a part of the narrative. Now, let's get going and look at the chart again and get through this to your sign. This is going to be mostly about you. I might be starting another YouTube channel where I just talk about mundane astrology. I know a lot of you like both. I can tell you something. If I just do astrology for you and I don't cover anything about the world, those videos do really well. As soon as I talk about world events, those videos tank. It may just be algorithmic suppression because the little robots pick up the words I'm using, right? So that's not great. And some of the channels that I really like that are doing really well in astrology, but it's not necessarily my style, they'll never talk about world politics or world events. They'll only talk about how your life is going to be made so much more wonderful by the astrology of the day. So unless maybe I'm going to have to sell my soul, but I think I'm getting a lot of challenges on the YouTube platform right now because I talk about this, meaning that my subscriptions are going down, but it's algorithmic suppression. My views are up. I don't know who they're showing my videos to, so a little concern there. So if you want to follow me off of this platform, eventually I'm going to do a podcast called The World in Our Stars, and it may also be replayed on YouTube, and that will cover primarily mundane astrology. All right, so here we have the sky, and it's not cued for anything. It's a Taurus rising at this point, just happens to be there. If you are at all interested in the asteroids, you're going to love this one, okay? Take a look at these asteroids. This is Varuna, the creation god of the Hindu people, and that's Nemesis. Yes, Nemesis is in a sign over. Nemesis is not sitting exactly right there with the moon, but it is almost there, 29:46 minutes, literally an hour after the moon, Nemesis will probably pop over, right? Let's see how long it takes Nemesis to pop, but it's within an orb. It's within, Nemesis is moving retrograde, so it won't pop over. But Nemesis is an orb of this particular moon. So I'm going to say it's divine justice or divine retribution from Nemesis on the moon, full moon. And on the other side, Varuna has been associated as well as a creator god of the Hindu people who also is connected to a higher order of justice or divine justice, etc. So this moon has seemed to be indicating something to do with creation, creator abilities, and divine justice, for example. And also, this moon has been associated with enlightenment-y stuff or reaching deeper into your soul. I mean, not this moon, but this asteroid. And in fact, I took a little bit of a note-taking on some of the ways that astrologers have delineated this particular this particular asteroid, Varuna. For example, people have said that Varuna is what one wants to be forever remembered for, like a legacy, what you want to be known for. Law and order, more perfect than humanity's law and order. Not bad, right? Who wouldn't like a little higher law and order than the crazy ass shit down here? Wisdom and divine knowledge, harmony and balance. Universal law and justice. This is a trans-Neptunian object, by the way, discovered in year 2000. So it's way out there, like a dwarf planet, out near Neptune, beyond Neptune, in fact, and Pluto, between Neptune and Pluto. And a connection to the divine or cosmic forces. So those are some of the little notes that I took this morning. So let's keep that in mind. At the very same time, we can also note that the sun is with Pluto, and that sun and Pluto are together, and the moon is full. So it's archetypally reflecting the light of those two variables. Woo! Big light, big energy, energetically coming. Pluto is not literally being reflected by the moon, of course, it's too far away, but archetypally, energetically, it's bound to that sun within 5 degrees, and the moon reflects Pluto and sun. And indeed, this moon was with Pluto, was with Pluto just before it went into, in other words, it had to cross the 0 degrees of Leo. So the last contact this moon had with a planetary body before it became full was the Lord of the underworld, the Lord of wealth and power, conflict and crisis, regeneration and rebirth, metamorphosis, This transformational planet was talking to that lunation before it became full. At the same time, you know, and this is important, the thing the moon will connect to directly right after it becomes full is Jupiter. The first planetary contact is Jupiter in a square or in a difficult angle to this moon. This is called a T-square, these red lines. Now, Jupiter, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge for action and decisions. It's gritty. It forces our hand, you know. And it's interesting because Jupiter is sitting with Gacrux, the star of the Southern Cross. And this is a star, or this is a cross and the star in it that can be about manifestation, but challenges as well, bringing your spiritual impulse, beliefs, and philosophies into the real world. It also has to do with doing the higher work with vision and courage. It's a very noble star. Gacrux is a cross in the sky, and this is the Southern Cross in which Gacrux sits. And finally, the sun is sitting with the star Alshat, A-L-S-H-A-T. I know it sounds terrible, Alshat. And this is about, in quotes, I'm reading the software for you, repeatedly assessing things according to a high standard, preoccupation with values, acting on matters of principle, being strong and brave. So I'm going to say strong, brave, principled, and sometimes losing the battle to win the war. Strong, brave, principled, acting on principle, energies with that star that the sun is sitting with, but squaring Jupiter. All right, so I want to talk about this in one more way, and then we'll do the all signs. This is Leo, and that means kings and leaders, right? That's a sign of kings, leaders, and even celebrities. We may see a lot of stories coming up to do with divine justice for leaders or celebrities. So leaders and celebrities in this news cycle around law, legal matters, and justice. We have a lot of celebrities, including Donald Trump, being entangled in legal and law and justice matters. Right? We have more and more people being drawn into various kinds of things. Who knows what will happen, you know, with the Epstein thing? Who knows what will happen with the International Court of Justice and its rulings on the situation in the Middle East? But we see leaders, and don't think it's going to happen full moon, and it's on that day. A full moon is not only something you can witness in the 2 weeks that follow it before the next new moon, but something that can really unfold over 6 months. So all of these courts, justice, divine justice, retribution, higher order of justice, features of this full moon in Leo will come to bear. I have no dog in this fight about the Trump situation. I'm Canadian. I could care less one way or the other whether Trump wins or loses. But we will see it kind of playing out as a higher order energy as things are delineated about what is true and just and right. And bravery and principled action up with that sun and that star connected to Pluto power. Aquarius is we the people. Aquarius is a very cerebral energy. It's more like Spock in Star Trek, whereas Captain Kirk would be Leo, right? The big captain on his chair, and then Spock over there, negative captain, and saying things like, analyzing it. No, it's an idea, cerebral, relating one on many, you know. Ask not what you can do for your country, but what your country can do for you. No, not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That could be very much a Aquarian statement by JFK. But, there's a vibe with Aquarius too. It's a water bearer, right? Pouring those healing waters on humanity. And it's also a figure that can be interpreted as angelic or humanoid. So when I look at this Pluto Sun conjunction, which is waning, it was very tight when Pluto ingressed on the 21st of the month of January. It is about Pluto, power, sun, leaders, right? But in a moon that's reflecting the light of powerful leaders who have done things that have been power dominating over the people, the society, and the culture at large. So we can go a lot of stories during the pandemic where there was a lot of top-down censorship, control of the people, and the ideas of how society should work, the rules of engagement for how society should work: stand 6 feet apart, wear your mask, or get that medical intervention, or now even, God forbid, you speak up for a beleaguered, besieged country that's in a strip of land 25 miles wide, you get fired from your university position, you get censored on social media. So there's a lot of that power that can be mishandled here, being reflected by a full moon in Leo with 2 asteroids, Nemesis and Varuna, for justice, divine harmony, and balance. I'm hopeful that does mean something will autocorrect on our horribly tyrannical, dominating powers that be these days. Now, over here is Jupiter. And, hey, he's going direct in Taurus. He'll be here till like May 26th. He wants to expand, to grow, to create something larger, to bring bounty. It happens to be in Venus's house. Venus, although don't have her, is sitting with Mars in Capricorn during the full moon. So Venus says, well, I'm busy over here in Capricorn. I'm fondly looking over at you. And she is fondly looking over at him. And we're only talking about him, yes, because he gets involved in this moon. Let's bring her into the story, just as you can see that Venus is indeed where I said she was. We're going to add her, and we're going back in. So there she is. She's getting ready, okay, to flow in a perfect trine to Jupiter. She's not quite there yet. That's really a lovely energy. But she sees Jupiter in her kingdom with Uranus, and she can give him guidance from the Capricorn part of the sky. So there's something that says that she may be, in intervention mode here. She's already only 4 degrees, pretty well beginning to engage Jupiter. And he's being pummeled by Pluto, Sun, and Moon and Varuna. He's kind of in the crosshairs, right? There's a thesis that you can break the tension of any T-square. Is it true? I don't know. By looking to the house opposite, in this case, the 6th house, or to the sign opposite, this case, Scorpio, that maybe you can relieve tensions from this grit through the Scorpio part of your sky. And maybe I'll try to bring that into the all signs delineation. But Jupiter's kind of like, everyone's squaring me. Moon, Varuna, Pluto, Sun, and then Venus says, it's okay. It's okay. It reminds me of that song from Jesus Christ Superstar, where Mary Magdalene has got Jesus's feet and she's putting the oil on and she's singing to him. And of course, I'll try to sing it. Na 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 da da na 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 do 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 do. It's that song, and everything's all right. That's another song, isn't it? Yeah, and it's cool and the ointment's sweet for the fire in your hands and feet. That song. I'm totally off key. I know I don't sing, but the key is that Jupiter is like the king, right? And Jesus was considered the Messiah or the king, and she's looking from Capricorn in a very soothing way, trying to calm him a bit as he gets into the crosshairs of a T-square, basically. So I'm maybe bringing how Venus can soothe the turbulent waters in the 2 weeks after this lunation. Again, go back to August last year in 2023. This is a fulfillment, a culmination that starts now through 6 months in some area of your sky where things were seeded in August and are fulfilling at this point in time. Let's do the all signs portion. Just before I do, if you're new, don't forget, like, subscribe, and all my regulars out there, Melissa, Carey, and Linda Calder, and all of that crew, Jupiter 8, you guys hear these names over, Psychic Readings with Rose, Purple Table Tarot, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Crystalline Alchemist, Flower Remedy, Herbal Empress, all of you guys, thank you for being part of my crew. I think I'm going to start something new this year, which is I'm going to make a club out of YouTube. You can join for like $5 or $3 a month, and I'll have special features and another tier, because I think YouTube's rewarding people who do that too. And I've been pulling you all the way to my Patreon community, but I think YouTube favors the channels who let people stay here and join, and YouTube bills you, and I get a little bit of that money back myself. So I might start that up next month in February. Stay tuned for that. All right, moving on. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's get going. We are starting today with Aries, as we always do. We start with Aries first. Remember, the clash of generations is embedded here between the older than you with the flapper energy. Oh, I forgot to say one more thing. Well, let me go back. Stop the share. I'm sorry. I wanted to say, Renn Butler's Archetypal Universe, handy dandy, always on my desk, so to speak, talks about the shadow of a moon square Jupiter, or difficult moon Jupiter energies. And basically, he describes that as materialism, overconsumption, waste, self-indulgence, gluttony, cravings for rich and fatty foods. All the things I really like to do are illegal, immoral, or fattening. That's a quote from Alexandra Wolcott. I love that. All the things I really like to do are either illegal, immoral, or fattening. An overconcern with status, prestige, excessive needs, and a sense of entitlement, creature comforts and taking things for granted, being spoiled, snobbery, cliquishness and self-righteousness, hypocrisy, vain concern, milking the emotions and playing for sympathy, emotional excess and dramatics in the everyday. And a conflict between your personal beliefs and one's family's differences of spiritual philosophy or religion. Okay. And okay, we saw a lot of that happen during many things in the last 3 years where families were torn asunder by what people believed. And I guess we're going to see a little bit more in the 6 months that follow this moon, perhaps, because it's kind of baking in like you would bake something into clay, right? A tablet. It's baking in a square to Jupiter. It's like it's a part of the energy of this beginning of a time that can last 2 weeks after and up to 6 months as well. All right, we're back. Now my time stamping sister can get on board with me and we'll start up with Aries. Okay, Aries is first. All right, I have an Aries sun and moon, so I get you guys. Sun, it can be father figures, moon, mother figures, moon, home, nest, safety, security, body, sun, career, and purpose. This is why your rising sign, ascendant sign is most accurate. It's not shared by many people born within 2.5 hours of you in the same place and location, yes. But whereas the sun, everybody born 30 days of you has the same sun sign, everybody born in 2.5 days of you has the same moon sign. It's more uniquely you, for one thing. Now, Aries, sun, moon, and rising. It looks to me like you're going to experience a big fullness of something that was seeded last August in your 5th house of children, creativity, romance, sexuality, pregnancy, fertility, fun, play, and creative projects. What were you seeding in August of last year that is now ready to become more full and to begin to bloom and blossom and bear some fruit? So think about those themes from August. Now here you're looking for divine justice, but also maybe just divine harmony and balance in things that are 5th house. Maybe a balance with a child, maybe a balance with your creativity, maybe a balance with your work projects, or if you're an entrepreneur particularly, and even a balance in your romantic life if it's gotten somehow tilted out of balance for you with a romantic or sexual energy. So this is an energy that's coming to fullness for you in that 5th house. And at the same time, it does come into a square to Jupiter and opposes Pluto. And the Pluto opposes Pluto and the sun. There's something about wanting to, you're powerful right now. This moon is reflecting the power of you creating great gains from your career, actualizing your dreams, hopes, and wishes in your 11th house, benefiting from favors and allies and powerful people. You know, I'm going to be on this lovely podcast after this moon with a woman in Australia, and she's got like famous people on her podcast, and I'm like nobody, like Ariel Ford and whatever. So you could have powerful allies that are reflecting your talents and skills and abilities and what brings you joy and your natural inclination for entrepreneurial instincts. That's 5th house matters. And so that's being reflected in the 5th house, which is also known as the house of the stage in ancient traditions. So you might be having a bit of a, even though it's the 5th house, I know. So because it seems to be sublunar, it can be like a performative place where actors hang out. So in this kind of house of the stage, you might be on stage more. You might be performing more, especially in Leo. You might be sharing yourself with the world in a performative way more in the 2 weeks and 6 months that follow. It's also good for fertility if you're thinking you want to have a child. But the square to Jupiter is interesting because it's squaring Jupiter in the house of money. And Venus is trying to smooth it out by talking from the 10th house of reputation and visible career, trying to soothe Jupiter as he's in the crosshairs of a T-square. Jupiter says, I am all about making more money. I want to make you bounteous, prosperous, and wealthy in your earnings and resources. And I want to do it quickly, suddenly, excitingly. And then, Pluto sun, let's do that. Sure. But it's also about that more heroic, brave, and noble action that you need to take in order to achieve that, because of the star Alshat that's with that sun. And also the moon full in the 5th house is like, it's like being 9 months pregnant. What are you 9 months pregnant with, you Aries, that you need to give birth to? And maybe giving birth is kind of at odds with money right now, or just having to hustle for earnings. Maybe there's a creative project that you know needs your attention, or a real baby that needs your attention. Finally, also, you know, Jupiter here can be about your gluttony, really. It's like you're going to eat and drink and smoke and smoke. You're going to do things that go into your mouth that are over the top. You know, like, am I in control? I'm out of control. And Venus is trying to help you. She's at the top of the sky going, you know, in refined Capricorn. Yeah, but still, you've got to be looking good at the top of the sky. You can't be looking bad. You got to, like, you know, You got to take care of your food style or whatever you're adjusting and in how you look because of it. And then, so she's trying to help and trying to refine that and support you, especially the trine from Mars to the Jupiter Uranus area. The sky suggests the same thing, eliminating the vices basically. And then finally, if you are able to sort of look at that Jupiter moon energy, it really is like gluttony. Remember, we looked at the archetypal universe, that gluttony, excess energy in a house of things that you can eat. So this can be a termination of that gluttony, because I do want to say, I feel like Venus in a flow to Jupiter is going to try to mitigate what can be a time of excess that you're feeling maybe in the 2 weeks after the moon, and pulling the reins back on that excess. Jupiter does rule your house, 12th house of self-undoing, and sickness and illness can happen there. So you're looking at dietary habits and formation of new, refined and more mature eating and drinking and smoking styles that are going to be better for your overall health in the 2 weeks that follow the moon. Because finally, I mean, the fifth house, I said that word a lot, finally, I apologize. The fifth house, I apologize. The fifth house is vitality, and it's about what brings you inspiration and joy. And that moon is trying to light up a fullness there for you. And Varuna, balance and harmony in those full lights of joy and enjoyment. All right, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Boy, does this girl need a shoulder massage. You're going to look at a full moon here reflecting Pluto, sunlight energy, and the star Alshat, noble, heroic Alshat, noble action, higher action, brave action. And the moon in the bottom of the sky, it's in the house of your home. This is where you live. You go home, put your feet up, pour a martini, go home, do a workout in the local gym. What do you do in the downtime, privacy, darkness of your life? The dark midnight of your sky is your fourth house. It's a place where you live most often, and you're very close, intimate, proximate, domestic, cohabitating people. It's your domestic life. And the moon is full, and you're shining a light for more divine balance and harmony here, with both Nemesis and Varuna down at the bottom of the sky. You're trying to be balanced and harmonious in the bottom of the sky. It's that simple. At home, in your home. But you seeded that in August. What did you do in August that began to create a sort of vibration for that full divine balance and harmony in your home and home life? Now, the sun up in Aquarius, in a sign of its detriment, but I don't think that's true, but whatever. It feels, I understand why that's true in the ancient tradition, but I'm going to say, you Aquarian sun people aren't out to lunch or anything. But you have this sun and Pluto. What kind of dominating, powerful force may be exerting pressure at you, connected to your career and your workspace? It can be a father figure. This is 10th house, can be the house of the father. And this can be very intense energy, where a father figure or a boss or somebody of great power in a work environment is acting very intensely dictatorial, tyrannical, or to be literal, Pluto sun can be the death of a career, the death of a purpose, or the death of a job. For some of you, we can use the word job. Now, this is squaring Jupiter in the house of you. You are lucky, you are magnanimous, and you are getting fatter than you normally are. Talk to me about it, guys. When Jupiter went through my sign, right, I gained weight. So Jupiter going through the sign of you, particularly if it's your ascendant, you'll put some weight on. It will not last, but it is a thing. All right, it is a thing. So expanding your girth, getting you to be larger, but also largesse, and like you are the one with the sort of half full cup, subjective well-being, lucky horseshoes, 4-leaf clover in your hair. You have a lot of luck right now. I hope you're going to use that luck. Okay, so you Taurus, is this a squaring you? The moon squares you, the sun squares you, you're at the apex of the T-square. Remember, I said maybe you could outpicture where you can release the tension. You might be able to release some of this tension that's right on you, at you, from the house of your clients, customers, and your significant other. Look to them to support you, to maybe release a little of the hot air or the steam that you might be feeling from this pressure cooker T-square. What do you know to be true? What do you know to be wise? Because Jupiter is trying to make you true and wise. And there's pressure to be true and wise as it applies to a balance between your work and home life, between nesting and nurturing and self-love, and the moon, self-mothering yourself in the home, and the power and the ambition of Pluto Sun in your career. Something's got to give. And you're looking to see true and wise, inner knowing, deep wisdom that Jupiter is asking you to discover by embodying it, by becoming it. So I can see a lot of you might make decisions in the 6 months that follow to make a big change in the work-life balance fundamentally. And Venus wants to bring harmony and divine flow to Jupiter from the house of Dharma and meaningful, purposeful life, ninth house, as well as the academic environment and book publishing environment and legal environment. And if there's anything that's been destabilizing you there, then this is going to be harmonizing, especially a little later when Venus, a few days later after this moon, forms a trine to Jupiter. Hey, Gemini, this is a big full moon shining brightly. Don't forget, we all saw a new moon last August. What were you seeding in your third house of online world, the online world, social media, writing, websites, things you're doing in and from your local neighborhood, things to do with neighbors or younger siblings. So those things that you were planting seeds thereof in August, in those areas of your life. For me, I was plotting the outlines and details of the Deep Code Astrology book because I have a progressed sun in Gemini, which represents my career right now. What were you doing? It wants to come to fullness in a house that it has to do with writing, communicating, and thinking and ideating. So now you're looking at taking this idea, the seed, or this project, or this something you've been doing online or in the local environment, and you want to grow it larger. You want to make it into a big, fruit-bearing tree. It may be coming to a completion, but not on the full moon. The completion can usually show up in the 6 months that follow as we move towards the next new moon. We want divine harmony and balance, but we have a creator god, Varuna, here as well. So he's a creation god, and he also embodies divine harmony and balance. So you're looking for this divine harmony and balance, and you're also looking for fullness in something you wish to communicate, write, put into the social media world, all of those things. Pluto, and it can involve trips and travel, maybe a fullness around a seed that you planted last August for some journey abroad, particularly abroad. We'll be getting into the faraway land story in a sec. Pluto's sun is a very dominating force. It's almost mafia godfather energy, and it's opposing the moon. The moon was talking with Pluto, having a convo, and then moved into the opposition to the sun. And then right after this lunation, like an hour later, a square to Jupiter. So it's almost like, what are you doing here in your writing, communicating, social media world? It's now become full and maybe complete. Maybe it's time that something's going to wane a bit, but you also are looking at how Pluto, power and dominance and domination and intensity and even wealth, is talking to you from that ninth house of book publishing. Yes, that's one of the things I got to get done. I'm taking a lot of time off next year to write a book, but also the house of, your spiritual beliefs and philosophies and the things that really matter to having a meaningful and purposeful life, right? A true north life. And that's being addressed here by a square to Jupiter. Jupiter's kind of like, oh man, but I'm deeply involved in the ashram over in the 12th house, or I'm figuring out how to be bounteous and bountiful from international foreign lands and revenue, PayPal and Stripe processors. I'm making this person look at their guru, look at their inner guru, get their ashram on, figure out the meaning of their spirituality, their soul, and also get wealthy if they want through foreign countries, foreign people, and foreign lands. And yet I'm being pressured now, says Jupiter. I'm being pressured to look at these third house, ninth house metacosmos things beyond this world spiritual stuff, do with the house of God and house of goddess, the house of writing and the house of book publishing, the house of courts and legal matters, the house of my everyday life. The opposition between those two 9-3 axes, but they all involve travel, because you travel shorter distances in the third and you travel long, far away distances in the ninth, like a pilgrimage. So even so there's definitely, like, what is the fullness to do with travel that may be coming, shorter distance travel most likely, that may be coming into your story in a very profound way after this moon. Now, visas and passports can be ninth house matters, and there's tension here, especially regarding visas and passports in far off lands. And if any of those elements are a part of your world, looking to get a visa or a work permit or something, this is a very tense Jupiter god of
justice next 6 months. The moon wants to bring a fullness to something, but I'm not sure that this is going to be the easiest journey. But Venus is soothing the matter anyway. She's loving up Jupiter at the tip of the T-square, as I mentioned early in my bad Jesus Christ Superstar song. And she's kind of like, well, no matter what, I'm bringing you some chunky money. No matter what, Jupiter, not to worry. We've got lots of resources over here. I'm leveling up this, a money story for, taxes, inheritances, maybe winning money, investing money. So it's almost like even if everything else is going to hell in a handbasket, your money looks good. Something like that. Alrighty, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Yeah. So what did you plan maybe as a seed last year in August to do with earnings? Did you start a new business? Did you start a new job? Did you get a pay raise? It's a moon in the house of money. Did you do something self-loving and nurturing to increase your wealth? Did you spend money last August on something that's self-loving and nurturing to yourself? Those are thoughts and those are stories, right? So to consider those, because now this full moon is bringing the seeds of last August into fullness as we approach January 25th. Now, it's possible that this full moon, which can take 6 months to unfold, can ripen your earnings to take you to another fullness or level in a balanced, harmonious way, because we have Varuna there. And as well, because this fullness in the earnings story is connected to a Pluto opposition and of course, the sun, because that's a full moon. Where are you pressed and pulled between the earnings and the savings, like 401k, RRSP, or investment monies, or your spousal monies, or grant monies, or, residual income, passive income? Because really we make money, earn money in the second house, and we receive other people's money and unearned income, or chunky money, as I call it, in the eighth house. And you've got a push-pull going on, a tug-of-war. See, the moon's reflecting some of that chunky money light and Pluto power at you in the second house, but it wants you to balance something out. Maybe it's time to look at a larger strategy as a Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for your earning story and how you wish to earn money. The square to Jupiter in the house of great gains from your career signifies more of what I just mentioned. But you might need to find your inner inspiration, your juice, what gets you out of bed in the morning? Where are you ready to jump up and down? Yay, I get to make money today. Because that is the energy of Scorpio in your fifth house. And it's that release point for the T-square. And I wonder, maybe making a lot of money in your 11th house hasn't brought you the joy that you wanted in the last 6 months. And some of you are looking at finding the enjoyment, inspiration, and enthusiasm for a earning strategy that brings balance and fullness to your life. Some of those stories are playing out for many of you Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. As well, Venus is talking to poor beleaguered Jupiter in the crosshairs of a T-square. And she's like, don't worry, I've got this, because I'm bringing you an amazing client, customer, audience member, amazing opportunity to reach an audience in a Venusian way that you're liked and likable, or I'm bringing you a new female friendship, or I'm bringing you some more love and being loved up by your significant love and business partner. And that's going to feel good. And that's going to help mitigate some of the tension in the couple of weeks that follow this moon. But you're looking for a fullness in an earnings and money strategy, and coming from the career gains part of your sky. And like you might have to re-envision, reimagine, ask your fairy godfather for a favor here. Jupiter's in his house of his joy. What it is that's going to really bring you happiness and money, not either or, right? Happiness and money. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. A full moon, taking cue from a new moon last August, as happening in the house of you are full. Now, this is your yearly full moon. You can bring to completion or fullness or fruition, or anything that you began to plant as a seed last August. And it's anything, because you are the one with the moon in the house of you. You're wanting to plant something. You did plant something, you wanted to bring it to fullness in a way that has harmony and balance and is connected to your divine to the meaning of life, Varuna making you more attuned to divine will and divine consciousness. And at the same time, this full moon is opposite Pluto and Sun in the house of the other, seventh house. And I mean, Pluto can be a very dominating person, and Sun could be a male or a father figure. You might be encounter or a really gnarly troll or a really tough client or a really anxious, a dominating, forceful character can show up in the 2 weeks that follow this moon that opposes your own desire for great fullness with balance and harmony in your very being, right? A full moon in the house of you can also look like a time where you're just feeling really, really full, like, your cup runneth over. But where's this pressure coming from somebody across the way? And, the sun rules your sign, and your sun has been outpictured in the other. This is like if you're married to somebody with the sun in the seventh house, quite often you end up orbiting them, and, you've been codependent. Their needs come before yours. And it's a very difficult placement for a relationship. And all of a sudden there's the sun, which is your ruler, in the house of other, conjunct Pluto, the dominator, the controller, the tyrant, sometimes the powerful one, the wealthy one. And, opposition, right? This is opposing the Leo in this world. So you might be dealing with some very gnarly marital discourse or discomfort if you're married or in a relationship, or it can be outpictured as a significant client problem or customer problem, perhaps even a legal contractual problem that you need to resolve. Now, with Jupiter at the top of your sky in the 10th house, Jupiter is at the crosshairs of a T square. It looks like a triangle, red triangle. And he's kind of like, oh, goodness gracious, everyone's looking at me. I just want to make this Leo person, successful in their career, give them a lot of luck, up level them, bring them greater bounty in their career, bring them greater favors and love ups from the bosses. Can I just do this, please? Why is everybody hitting on me off of axis 7 and 1? Well, Pluto is pretty dominating here. He's in an applying square to Jupiter. Energetically, Jupiter's taking the brunt of Pluto's attention and trying his best to swat it off. Jupiter here is making you lucky in your career, but could it be your marriage partner or business partners opposing your career success, or trying to dominate over it, or their needs are dominating and taking your attention away from your career success at this time? And your sun, the sun, is also possibly an opportunity coming through, a powerful, wealthy person, someone who's very, very powerful. That is a career opportunity. Jupiter can bring that in the 10th house, but there's some kind of desire to find something more balanced or in balance because of Varuna, and you're not sure about the balance that this opportunity is going to offer you. Is it what you want? With Venus flowing from the 6th house of work to Jupiter in the 10th, especially in the few days that follow this moon, wow, it's golden career opportunity usually. Up level, raise, promotion, job offer, applying for a job, getting the job. And yet you got to watch out because she's calming the situation down, but you may be in conflict with some other person who's not so keen to see you succeed. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It's a story of a full moon. You planted a seed there last August. I'm looking out this window that I'm recording in, and there are 3 deers, 4 deers, 5 deers. Holy man. Wowzer. There's a herd of deer out there. Hang on a sec. James, are you there? Shit. It's so beautiful. I had to text him. Sorry, he's somewhere in the house. I'm in Georgia getting ready to go back to Vancouver. OMG, a herd of deer is out there. Sorry, guys, I don't want to pause the recording. Herd of deer. So then the next thing I want to say, Virgo, is what seed did you plant in August? Oh, if you're in the live premiere, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. What were you planting as a seed last August? That is something to do with your work and health. And you might have been looking more squarely at new health protocols or procedures. You may have had some opportunity to get a new job or find some kind of new beginning in. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what happens when you're looking at deer. Starting over. It is connecting to your job, but that's where the sun is. So the new moon was in Leo. Where were you in last August? Where were you last August?
looking squarely at addiction, self-undoing, bad habits and patterns, and dealing them up very aggressively, maybe like I'm going to start over. I'm going to quit this thing, because now it's a full moon in the 12th house and you're looking for that balance and harmony, that divine balance, that divine harmony regarding the ways you undo yourself, sabotage yourself, let yourself down, or even encounter health challenges that you could have created by yourself. And the moon full here can also look, as it opposes Pluto Sun, like a problem with your work situation that is not good for your well-being physically. So Sun, Pluto, are you with a dominating boss? Are you driving yourself? Are you dominating? Are you pushing yourself too hard? Are you being questing for the wealth at the expense of your health? Some of that story looks possible on the 6-12 axis. On the other hand, a very powerful person in the workspace, right, can be involved in what's going on here. And, you may be feeling a lot of pressure. You want to be alone. The 12th house is solitude. It's fullness in the house of aloneness. You want to be tucked in bed reading a book or meditating in a cushion, or, you just want to be downtiming in the bed pleasures and privacy of your home. 12th house things can be that. And you got all this pressure coming from the work environment. So are you working too much, or are you driving yourself, or someone in the workplace driving you? Your health could be at stake. So be considerate of your health. With this full moon in the 2 weeks that follow, you're going to be asked to prioritize wellness over wealth, wellness over wealth. Now from work, wellness over wealth from work. Now with Jupiter in the 9th house, this is your area of the chart that can represent a lot of different things. One thing it represents is your book publishing world, your religion and spiritual philosophy, your academic and university college environments. It is also the house of the Dharma, leaning towards a deeper meaning and purpose in life. It's also can be a father figure in the 9th house as well as the 10th. And Jupiter up here can look like a spiritual advisor, counselor, therapist as well, giving you some kind of almost pressure cooker ultimatum, or Jupiter himself being pressured. Now, look, I'll make a story about my Virgo daughter because she's there and I know her life, Virgo rising. She's working her ass off and going to school full time. Something's got to give. She can't do 35 hours of work and 35 hours of school. She's grinding herself into a hot mess. So that's an example for real life that just is going to be the breaking point for that, where something's going to give. And it's interesting because if we look at the idea of the 9th house up here, having an opposition house down here, 3rd house, the tension can be released through 3rd house matters. Maybe making choices that have more to do with what you want to do in your fishbowl of your life that brings satisfaction, the daily stuff, the restaurants, the pubs, the neighbors, the neighborhood, enjoying that area of your life a little bit more for a lot of Virgos instead of being up here. Foreign lands, foreign shores, and travel are up here. Some Virgos might be pressured for all this travel, but what they really need to do is stay home and stay local. And maybe the travel isn't the right thing at the right time right now. There's just too much going on. You did plant a seed, though, to undo your self-undoing last August. And one of your self-undoings may be workaholism. I've never met a Virgo who doesn't work too hard. Dutiful, service-oriented, diligent, and hardworking Virgo. So there's something going on about letting that go. And if it comes to the health challenges and stuff like that, you could say that if you got away from the intensity of that work and took a trip abroad, you may improve your health challenges. You could argue that, but I don't think so, because Jupiter is squaring everything. And so it's not a flow. It's like that even the health, some foreign travel will actually make you feel more intensely overworked or health debilitated, possibly. So rethink any foreign trip plans that you had lined up, especially 2 weeks after the full moon, but even in the 6 months that follow. Okay, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Go back to last August, you had a new moon planting some seeds here of a new beginning in your 11th house of good spirit. And this is where you can have a lot of career gains and rewards from your 10th house show up financially, reputation-wise, awards, get your Academy Award ready kind of thing. I kind of sense here that you're looking for some divine balance in how those career gains are coming to you with Varuna. You're looking for some more harmony and ease and balance in that part of your sky, the 11th house. At the same time, the 11th house can be other people. It could be your oldest sibling. It could be somebody who's an ally or a benefactor to you. And it also can involve a bit of a splash of potential being seen in the world, like kind of famous energy. And so you might have opportunities to shine brightly in the world at an event or a group of, or have influence over a group or speak in front of a group or be in front of a group. So all of that, but definitely look to females to be fully supportive of your gains in your career with this kind of moon in a divinely balanced way. Yet at the same time, Pluto's in opposition to the moon. You know, the Pluto moon opposition, like anything with Pluto moon, like it's like, you know, toxic love, forbidden love. Just watch out here that you don't slide into some kind of real difficult terrain when it comes to relationships. I'm saying that because, you know, Pluto moon coming from Pluto in the house of romance and then the moon in the house of friendships. I mean, we could be looking at forbidden love, fatal attractions and stuff like that for some of you in the 2 weeks that follow this moon. That's just to be watchful for that, those kinds of shenanigans. I don't know, the square to Jupiter. Jupiter's up there in the 8th house. He says something like, let's get some money going here. Let's get some wealth. Let's get some inheritance. Let's get some grants. Let's get some loans. Let's get some mortgages. Let's get our money rolling. Let's take some money off the table. Let's sell a property. Venus trine from the 4th house. But whatever this is, it's definitely a preoccupation with Jupiter focused either on occult mysteries and all this paranormal stuff, but more likely the money story. Now, you guys can be under a bit of an inheritance transit here, and so keep that in mind through to the end of May. So with Mars and Venus in the legacy wealth house, some of you may indeed come into some money in the 6 months that follow this full moon, because pennies from heaven and good things like that are both the 11th house and money luck, the 5th house. I think the tension of this T-square, though, it's out picturing in the earnings part of the story. It might be a question about how you can look into your earned income story and maybe discover a more truly transformationally joyful way of creating that earnings money stuff, because Pluto's sun in the house of joy and enjoyment and pleasure is a part of what's going on here. Maybe it's even just taking some of your hard work and looking at whether or not it is, you know, at what expense is it at, really? Are you obsessed with making money? Because Pluto moon could be obsession. Are you obsessed with making money sometimes and you're realizing that's not going to be satisfying in the long game? Maybe it's time to look at your investments, your savings, or money you can share with a resourceful spouse instead of you doing all the hustle. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. In the sky, you've got a seed planted new moon last August 23, becoming full now in the 10th house of career and reputation. Certainly can really light you up in terms of being publicly appealing, popular with the masses. A little episode of public popularity. This is a sign of performers, right? And your moon is up there. And so you might be a performer energy in the 2 weeks that follow, and maybe 6 months that follow, in a way that brings not only the intensity of a creation god Varuna, but also the balance and justice and harmony that comes with that energy of Varuna on this moon. Because it's opposing Pluto and Sun in the 4th house, there may be things going on in your domestic and private life that are at odds with your sort of glow up in your reputation and career that's maybe becoming to fullness. Seeds were planted for that glow up in August, but coming to fullness now. And you may have to figure out how to balance out something to do with a quality of Pluto in the 4th house. This is a new energy for you. Of course, Pluto's just tiptoeing in there now. But I mean, this can bring you wealth over the next 20 years through legacy wealth, inheritances, property. But right now there's a pull of some dominating force of it, of someone, some perspective in the home. Are you being dominated by a dominatrix in the home? Oh my goodness. There's some kind of dominating force that's opposing your glow in the top of the sky, perhaps coming from your home life. Could be somebody in your domestic environment who's bossing you, maybe telling you what to do, trying to direct you. Or maybe just there's something about the home space that is very Pluto-like for you right now. It feels like you're going into a crisis, conflict, transformation environment in the nest. And it's at odds with this big fullness in the 10th house. Full moons in the 10th house can bring an end to a career or a purpose or a job. You might be getting ready to step out of something as well in the 6 months that follow this career, this particular full moon.
The square to Jupiter can indicate tension with your business partner, a spouse. It can represent opportunity and growth and expansion with audience, marketplace, and the public. But again, it's often as well the spouse or the significant other, and Jupiter making them lucky. They're having a bit of luck, or they're, well, luck or bounty or expansion. Now, Jupiter can end relationships when he's in the seventh. He brings blessed endings like death and ends of marriages. Believe it or not, Jupiter, the ho, ho, ho guy, does that. Depends on the degree, of course, of your Scorpio ascendant. If it's near 6 degrees, you might be under a do or die with a relationship, because this square to Pluto, Jupiter-Pluto square to the moon, it's pretty intense, right? It's like there may be a make or break energy going on. January 25th, 6th, add 2 weeks, but even unfolding over 6 months with a particular significant other in your life, a romantic love relationship that's committed and monogamous. Venus is definitely trying to soothe the story, And by the way, you can get rid of some of that tension by focusing on yourself, taking care of yourself, not doing the focus on the Jupiterian spousal energy or partner energy, but being more connected to yourself. Now, Venus is soothing Jupiter a bit from the third house, and so it can be like nothing better than a romantic getaway or some fun times in the local neighborhood with the one you love, to soothe some of this tension, especially in the week or two that follows this full moon. I'd advise a getaway, a romantic trip, a journey somewhere. If you do things in the online world, third house, that reach an audience or marketplace from your 10th house, a performative career, this can look like a glow up or a blow up in some kind of content too that comes off of this moon. Tension at home versus your reputation or your day job and something you're doing online, whatever it is. You might love the vibe of Venus's support of Jupiter in the, week that follows this moon, where something is going okay after all, and where you're really successful, let's say, in third house matters, online world, writing, websites, short distance travel, skills-based learning, and also fun activities that are enjoyable in your local neighborhood, maybe with your main squeeze. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. The full moon is going to be taking cue from a new moon in your third house. This is where you seeded something new back then in August of 23. And now it's becoming complete full. It might be ending, or it just might be fruiting. I'm not sure, but it's becoming full and ripe. It's powerful. It has Pluto. Oh, I'm not having a good day. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing too well because I'm not feeling well today when I'm recording, which is early for my Patreon community on January 17th. Reset. Oh my God, don't troll me on this. Okay, I'm putting a video up for you, despite the fact that I felt nauseous and really ill yesterday. I'm not quite better yet. And maybe I ate something I shouldn't have. Let's go back. This is a new moon that you seeded in your Leo house last August, and it's becoming full now. The full moon is saying, what do you need to bring to fruition to do with books, book publishing, foreign lands and travel, third marriage environments, court and legal matters, and religious and spiritual beliefs, and with Varuna in a way that brings divine harmony and balance into your life and a higher order of divine justice as well. You can see there's tension in your third house. This is your local neighborhood and skills-based learning and writing and communicating and your daily fishbowl of your life, and that daily life everyday story every day around the hood, what you do, where you go, where you spend your time. That energy is not so copacetically happening to like what the moon wants to do. The moon is full, but it's that Pluto opposition. It's like, and Pluto doth object or pressure you. A younger sibling can be in your face about legal matters. A younger sibling or cousin or extended family member could be trying to dominate something you wish to achieve regarding travel, pressure you not to take that foreign land journey or something like that. Now, Jupiter and the crosshairs of a T-square in your sixth house is saying it definitely has a quality here about health and work that needs to be watched for. And look, Jupiter here is wanting you to get a pet. You could get a great pet between last May and next May of 23 to May of 24. Okay. But could there be even something as simple as in the 2 weeks that follow the full moon that you find yourself at odds with a pet situation because of travel? Or you could also find work situations to be very challenging regarding travel or regarding legal matters or regarding things to do with learning, like professional learning. They want you to learn something and you're not interested. The bottom line, though, with the health part, which is more important to me, is that Jupiter's trying to repair the body and help you find solutions and ease of health, because he's a good guy in the house of sickness. And sometimes he can expand a problem to make it visible. You didn't know you had a toenail fungus, and suddenly your whole toe is covered in fungus. And so he can make it larger so you notice it, but he is trying to help you. And so when Jupiter's here, he's trying to help you improve your health, but there's a lot of intensity going on because of third house, ninth house square matters. Perhaps look to isolation, time alone, meditation, paying attention to your dreams at night, looking deeper below the surface of your soul into past lives. If 12th house matters could be activated, your health can improve, your work situations can improve. You know, it's go within or go without here. Venus is trying to soothe Jupiter, which is wonderful. She's kind of like, I would give you some happiness over here because I'm choosing to eat things that are delicious while I eliminate things that aren't good for me. That's Venus, Mars in the house of food and things you ingest. But Venus also says, I'm in a refinement around bringing you positive money stories, earning stories, especially in the work environment. Okay. But again, Venus can spend money and she could bring you a beautiful opportunity to buy something that you really love for your work, an ergonomic desk, a emotional work support pet. I just watched like 7 deer gallop away from the field into the woods. It was magical, magical, magical. Okay, let's say that's about it. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story that has a full moon. And the full moon is going to be taking cue from a new moon that happened last August and is now full in your 8th house of chunky money. So did you buy stock? Did you invest in something? Did you apply for a mortgage? Did you refinance something? What seeds did you plant? Did you take possession of an inheritance notice? What did you do, Capricorn, with the 8th house story last year? What changes were you making? What seeds were you planting in the chunky money house? Now, it's also magic, occult mysteries, deep intimacy. So you're planting seeds there in August, perhaps. The full moon is with balance and harmony, Varuna. So divine justice, divine balance, and divine harmony are at play with regards to that money that you don't earn and resources you may share with a partner as well in business or love. The opposition to Pluto in the 2nd house of earnings, Pluto's death, rebirth, regeneration, crisis, conflict, renewal, metamorphosis, intensity. And Pluto, sun, is bringing that intensity to bear in the 2nd house and is reflected by a full moon in the 8th house. Both of these are money houses. So you're looking at a very monetary oriented lunation that has something to do with maybe the death of a career path, a death of an earnings path, a death of a food style as well. It's not supporting your vitality, but the moon in the 8th house can suggest some kind of money coming to you in a chunk in the 2 weeks to 6 months that follow this new moon. Again, a stock investment could be one way it shows up. Jupiter in a square from the 5th house may involve financial situations involving a child, a romantic partner, a entrepreneurial opportunity. The part about Jupiter here is that some Capricorns are very fertile right now. You could get pregnant, especially with Venus in the house of you. And that may be squaring off on the money houses of 2 and 8 because you don't know how you can afford it. But if it's not you getting pregnant, it could be a child getting pregnant even. And you're just dealing up with stories to do with money and children, money and money and creative projects, money and entrepreneurial opportunities, money and luck. You have some money luck right now. You can definitely win some money here with Jupiter, Uranus, Capricorns in your 5th house. Wouldn't it be nice if the Jupiter squares the earnings and the savings and the investments house because you just win some money and who gives a hoot? You just like have more fun in life. Oh. It started last May, the 3rd week of May, until the 3rd week of this May or so. Mid-May last year to the 3rd week of May 24. You're trying to have more joy. Jupiter's trying to bring you more joy in your life, more fun, more bounty for creativity and entrepreneurship, more pleasure, more play. But it looks a little gnarly, especially in the 2 weeks that follow the moon, as some financial axis gets activated and Jupiter is having a hard time dealing with it. You might rely on an elder sibling, or an elder sibling could come into the story in the 2 weeks to 6 months that follow the moon to balance out some of the money challenges, or a friend who acts like a benefactor or an ally who acts like an elder sibling towards you. Venus is trying to love up Jupiter. You are going to be more handsome, more beautiful, more sociable, more likable, more persuasive, charismatic, and charming. As Venus goes, buy a new wardrobe, get a new haircut. Venus is going through Capricorn, but she's loving up Jupiter in your 5th house, right? And that feels like, oh, that's really good for you. Well, anything, getting pregnant, winning a lottery, getting down with a really good romantic engagement trip, good for finding a new partner if you're single, really good for generating a new creative project or entrepreneurial project as well. And that's true. I mean, in the week or two that follows this moon, as that Venus begins to really move into perfect, the week after the moon, a perfect flow to that Jupiter. And I'm bringing her up because she's trying to calm Jupiter down because he's in the crosshairs of all this grit. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Yes, I am one of you, and losing the light. It's getting very sunny here. Let's see if I can pull the blind down. It's sunny, and it was like -11 in Georgia. This is my last day in Georgia. I'm heading back to Vancouver, Canada. I'm recording on January 17th for my Patreon community. Who knows when you guys get this? They get an early access ad-free. So a full moon in your 7th house of marriage. What did you do? And significant a business partner's audience, marketplace, clients, 10th from the 10th house is 7th house matters. What were you doing in August? Because you're now coming to a fullness there. What did you do in a significant love relationship that was seeded then that now is coming to fullness? What did you do in your business partnerships? And what did you do in your audience outreach or legal contractual agreements as well? This is now becoming full and fruiting and becoming ripe for you in the 7th house. But there is an opposition to Pluto's sun. You are dominating, you are controlling, you are powerful, you are to be feared. You are a force to be reckoned with, and you are also purposeful, and you are driving towards deeper vitality and leadership. And so you're like very Pluto sun. You're like a dominating leader energy here. January 25th, add 2 weeks especially. And, looking across at the moon in the 7th house, full, in a house that may be all about other people. So some full lunar energy is commanding your attention, but you may be more of a combative or differing agendas, basically. Differing agendas are going on here. With a square to Jupiter in your 4th house, home, property, real estate, legal agreements around home, property, and real estate are up for grabs. Some of you perhaps will be looking at things to buying and selling real estate or property, renting or leasing a property, because the moon is the ruler of the house of rentals. And all these things are very much in play for you then around January 25th, add 2 weeks. But there is also a sense that with Jupiter bringing you bounty, expansion, growth, wealth, opportunity, and luck in and from your home, and about home and property, and exciting sudden stuff, especially the 3rd week of April with Uranus conjunct Jupiter. This moon is embedded in some longer narrative of conflict with some significant other in your life, right? You're being bounteous and prosperous and expansive in the home. You're dominant and dominating and leaderful, and there's somebody else over there. Could be a client, could be a business partner, could be or just a legal matter. I mean, if it's rentals, it's your landlord that you have to come to terms with. But a full moon in the 7th house is super great for success with your audience, marketplace, and public in the 6 months that follow this lunation, especially if you can go back to what seed you planted back when. Oh my God, I'm about to lose my battery. Hang on. I thought this thing was plugged in. Shoot, the laptop. It was plugged in, but it unplugged. Oh my goodness. That's not good. I'm down to like no battery. All right. Venus is trying to soothe Jupiter's problem here as he faces a T-square. First of all, one way this is your domestic life, could be also feeling prosperous and abundant, but turbulent with some significant other. But the outpicturing of the way to maybe release the tension is Scorpio house, right? That's your whole sign 10th house. Releasing the tension of this home life, significant other, client, audience, marketplace, you, dominant, powerful, energy, vital, on purpose, whatever. Releasing that tension through your 10th house means focus on your career. It means focus on your career. whatever's going on in the home life, you're best to focus on your career. It might help in the 2 weeks that follow this moon and maybe the 6 months. Venus is soothing, soothing, soothing. Jupiter from the 12th house of aloneness, bed pleasures, foreign lands and shores, money made from foreign lands and shores, introspection, contemplation. So time alone, bed pleasures at home, foreign countries, and revenue from foreign shores. These things are going to be orienting towards, in the week after the moon, soothing a bit of the tension that Jupiter felt and allowing for some kind of flow between the 12th and fourth house axes. I'd say it would be a really good time to engage in kind of enjoyable and passionate and fun and romantic things in and from your home with a significant other in the week or two that follows this moon. All right, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is going to be, I was reading my tea bag said, none but ourselves can free our minds. And trust creates peace. Tea bags with little sayings on them. You know, I get in trouble for drinking tea, and I just saw like another channel where she has a cup of tea or coffee in her hand through the entire astrology delivery. So let me have a slurp of my tea. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. The moon was seated last August in your 6th house, and this is now becoming full. It's about work and health. So work and health, maybe pets or rental situations as well, but mostly work and health. Work and health, fullness, completion, or revelation, full moons reveal. And you may need more some divine balance and harmony for health and work matters. And you may be looking at that through the lens of the moon 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, and 6 months after this full moon. At the same time, you planted a seed there last August. What were you doing to improve your health and improve your work balance and work routines back in August? With this energy opposite Sun Pluto in the 12th house, powerful, dominating, wealthy males in foreign shores and foreign countries can be in the narrative here. Okay, there could be something going on there about that kind of person, but also Pluto Sun can be asking you in the 12th house to really look at your inner life, your soul, your deeply, to go deeply under the surface of your identity to the true you. And that moon is reflecting that through the house of service and work and health. Almost like also just on a very mundane level. You have a health problem, go inward, meditate, look at patterns in your life, look at how your own worst self-saboteur energy when it comes to your own health. On the other hand, you make revenue from foreign countries, foreign shores, and foreign people when Pluto moves into this part of the chart. And the sun is reminding you of that. And this can be a narrative that becomes very obvious to you in the 6 months that follow, including payment processors and stuff like that, like Stripe, PayPal, and international revenue generated and borderless income. And Jupiter is taking the heat here in a square to this moon. There is opportunity, but there's also grit when Jupiter is involved in a T-square. So you have opportunity for travel, you have opportunity for something in the online world, you have opportunity or abundance for something to do with a sibling, you have opportunity for something to do with travel opportunities. Did I say travel? Shorter distance perhaps, or even longer distance, just travel. And yet there's tension between that and your health and work situation. You may not be able to or want to take that trip or to engage with that sibling or to engage with that online situation, but there's opportunity there and it's good and Jupiter's direct. So you're going to look for the balance there in the health and work stories in order to take the opportunity in stride. My Pisces rising sister is going to start doing more readings again. I'll be sharing her 2024 reading, which is amazing. And that is something I want you guys to consider. I mean, where is the balance that you need in any online endeavor, like your website, booking calendars, and stuff like that? Honestly, Jupiter here might want to bust out and go to restaurants, bars, and pubs and have a good time in the local hood. And there's a lot of Pluto, Sun, Varuna squaring that, saying no self-sabotage and overindulgence because you might end up causing harm to your physical well-being or burning out, basically. And lastly, you know, with Venus in your 11th house, friends and allies who are female, elder siblings, especially female,
people who want to support you because they really, want to be a benefactor, or they just want to act like a natural helper for you. These people are coming into the story in the week that follows this moon, particularly because Venus is flowing to Jupiter, and he's at the tip of that T-square. And she says something like, "I'm bringing you an opportunity for a greater career gain through a travel situation. I'm bringing you an opportunity for some social appearance online that's going to bountify your work, especially from an elder sibling." Or someone who treats you like a younger sibling, acts like your big sibling. And Venus is also bonifying this whole thing, or making something nice happen up there regarding the possibility of a perk or a reward or unexpected gain, like a tip from reality, getting a tip jar from reality, that you might have a bit of a windfall coming here, some kind of, unexpected or delightful bounty, pennies from heaven. But it's only if it involves that third house. Like, let's say you bought a lottery ticket, but you bought it at the local, 7-Eleven. That could look like some unexpected positive bounty coming off of this moon in the couple weeks that follow. All right, I hope that was useful, Pisces, and that gave you some guidance for this full moon in Leo that's coming up. And I'm done. I am so done. I'm going to go take a nap or something. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check my description box for everything I'm offering. 2024 videos are out now. Sale ends on the 31st of January. $59 for 90 minutes times 12 videos, one for every single sign. It's a bundle. Get it for yourself, listen for your sun, moon, and rising, then share it with friends and family, kids and relatives, have a blast, pass it on. But somebody has to buy it first. And it helps buy my mic, support my sister to timestamp, and gives me income that I can use just specifically to reinvest in the business. All righty. Thank you very, very much. I'll see you on the next video. The next video will be the Mars Rising. Check my Mars Rising webinar. I'll put the link in the description box. It's going to be a humdinger. Mars Rising, not seen since 77 in Capricorn, 1977, is back. And it's going to really rock your Capricorn sky. It's going to be so good for all of us in the 2 years that follow Mars's heliacal rise in Capricorn on January 27th. Bye, everyone.